Hi, this is James with the RPG channel, which you are watching, and I do appreciate. Thank you. Lots of stuff going on today. It's a pretty exciting day. First off, the sun's up and I'm awake. How unusual is that? Hope it gives you hell. And also, as part of my deal with drivethrurpg.com, they send me tons of free stuff to review. Tons of free stuff. Most of it I don't have time to look at because it's a lot. So a couple of things that I have been sent that I would like to cover is first off, the music that's playing in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. Here, let me just be like Soldier Boy and crank that. This is music by a band called Nox Arcana. It's a band that I've listened to in the past, so I was a little bit surprised whenever drivethrurpg.net sent me a free copy of their CD Transylvania. It's all spooky, gothic, pseudo-techno kind of stuff. Not really, I mean you don't get like house beats or anything like that. But it's spooky, scary music that I listen to, which, something you can check out on there. You can find their YouTube videos all over the place, and you can also buy their product at drivethrurpg.com. If that's your thing, go for it. Another thing that I've been sent to review is a calendar. I know I'm a couple of days late on that one, but if you have not got a calendar yet, might I humbly recommend the Hot Chicks 2011 Adult Calendar PDF. There's a role-playing game called Hot Chicks that's really their selling point. And this calendar is a 2011 calendar with nude pictures of computer-generated girls. It's the same girls that they use in their game material, except now they've rendered them naked and put them in a calendar. I really don't know how to review a calendar other than if you want a calendar with computer-generated naked girls in it, then you could do a lot worse than this one. The pictures themselves, since I'm pretty sure YouTube would get mad if I showed them, they're all pretty well done, mostly TNA, little bit of P, but mostly TNA. Like, it's not like explicit, like, hardcore porn calendar 2011, but yeah, they're very naked. The calendar themselves, it has a lot of different holidays on it. It has all the standard ones, Christmas, Easter, all that stuff. It has a lot of government holidays, I noticed, and it also has stuff from like the Wiccan calendar. It has some Islamic holidays on it. So if you want a naked girls calendar, or if you have some affection for the Hot Chicks role-playing game, then go for it. It's available pretty cheaply. Next off, going back to my series about comic books, which I have not forgot that series. I'm going to continue it. I'd like to talk for just a few minutes about a dude by the name of Alan Moore. And it's almost impossible to be into comic books at all and not know who Alan Moore is, at least a little bit. He's been responsible for some of the most important comic book works ever created. He did work on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Watchmen, V for Vendetta. He has his controversial Lost Girls book, and he's a big part of the history of the Hellblazer series, which I'm quite fond of. So, Alan Moore, very important guy, and I'm not that big of a fan of him. The reason for my dislike of Alan Moore has nothing to do with Alan Moore personally. He seems like a pretty cool guy. But it's just that the comics he touches seem to have a very Alan Moore-esque feel to them, and that's not one that I can necessarily get into. And I'm going to, at some point, talk about Watchmen and V for Vendetta, and I've already mentioned it a little bit in my Hellblazer thing that I did. But Alan Moore is a very volatile personality, and I respect him as an artist in the sense that he creates art, but I'm honestly not that big of a fan of the art that he creates. And while I am all for comic books being art and having deeper meanings and, you know, being used as literature, I think that is extraordinarily awesome, and I have a lot of respect for people like Alan Moore who are willing to do that in this medium. I don't know if Alan Moore really understands on a fundamental level that comic books are also a business venture. And companies like DC have to make their money. Now, in Alan Moore's defense, sometimes the way these companies go about making their money can be considered unscrupulous at best. But some of these issues between Alan Moore and the publishers that he's involved with, DC, then they get really complicated, and I have to say I don't come down on Alan Moore's side all the time. Also, his comics themselves, like Watchmen and V for Vendetta, they're really important and they're really meaningful works, and I think Alan Moore does a great job of coming up with ideas. But the way Alan Moore carries out his ideas, I think maybe could be done better by someone else. And that didn't come out as intelligent as I wanted it to, and I know it sounds like I'm just, you know, really dissing Alan Moore a whole lot, which I guess in some ways I am. But I don't mean it to sound that way or sound mean-spirited or anything like that. So I'm going to talk about a couple of Alan Moore's works in the next few days, so keep all this in mind while I'm talking about them. And before this video runs over, I'd just like to say thank you for watching RPG Channel. Hot Girls Calendar, Nox Arcana CD, and a few Devil's Crossroad things can be picked up at my sponsor site, drivethroughrpg.com, links in the description, and I will talk to you later. Thank you.